Now, for generations, many towns and cities have taken them for granted, but across the UK, around 500 public swimming pools have shut since 2010, including many here in Scotland. And today, there's a warning from the GMB Union that not only are these closures robbing communities of a precious resource, they're also putting lives at risk. The GMB says there's an increased risk of drowning, with children still attracted to water, but without the skills to stay safe. Well, earlier, John Lunn, the Chief Executive of Scottish Swimming, explained why it's important that we protect our pools and, by extension, our young people.
Yeah, it is worrying, Laura, and it's a good point. We've had closures in Scotland, not to the same scale as we've seen in England, but there's slightly different reasons. But in the last 4 or 5 years, we've had 15 swimming pools closed. But what's more worrying is we've got a real ageing swimming stock. We have more than half the swimming pools in Scotland are more than 30 years old. So from a stock of around 300, that's over 150 of those pools have reached the end of their life. So therefore, maintenance costs are extreme and replacement is not forthcoming.
And it's good to actually hear a number from you about this, because we hear a lot, don't we, about councils considering, for example, closing a certain number of pools. Tell us more about the challenges of the upkeep of swimming pools.
Yeah, well, it is with an ageing stock, with the amount of swimming pools that are over 30 years, then they have increased costs in relation to heating, energy, plant maintenance, etc. So it does become more and more difficult for local authorities and leisure trusts to keep them going. But we do know that swimming is the second most popular physical activity in Scotland. We know that from the household survey. So there is a demand there, and there is usage. It's just that replacement and ongoing maintenance, which is a challenge and chronic underinvestment over years that's got us to this point.
It's about safety, isn't it, as well as about fitness?
Yes, it is. I mean, swimming is a life skill. It's something that you should hopefully learn when you're really young. It gives you the opportunity to continue to do that right into old age. So we've really got 3 asks, and they're all interconnected. We would like to see Learn to Swim as an entitlement. We've got a programme and a proposal for that with Scottish Government. We would like to see that in schools. That by itself would, create those life-saving skills for people. It would then allow people to keep the activity going and create footfall through the swimming pools that are there, which in turn would keep them busy and make them sustainable. We would also like a task force to look at the sustainability of pools. And then the last piece is we would like some statutory consultation when pools are being considered for closure. We see this ridiculous situation where we have pools being considered for closure, and then a couple of miles up the road there's a new school being considered, and yet they're not joining up and connecting the two things and thinking, put a community pool in alongside the school. It would make sense to do that.
And what about teaching? We hear often about people frustrated sitting, their kids sitting on a waiting list for swimming lessons. So it's often the case that the will is there, but the facilities and the teaching capacity are not.
Yeah, and that's really important. It does show that parents really value it and see the value in their children learning to swim, and that we know there's big waiting lists in a lot of local authority areas. And part of that is linked to not all local authorities providing school swimming anymore. There's no statutory provision for that or a requirement for them to do so. There is in England and there is in Wales, and we would like to see that statutory provision in Scotland, and that would reduce some of the waiting lists. But crucially, it would also give access to those swimming lessons which have those life skills to most of the communities where people can't afford it. It's not everyone that's got the capacity or the financial resources to be able to afford Learn to Swim.
OK, John, really good to hear from you on the News at 7. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.